close, fill in all these chairs. Chairs here in the front. They're especially comfortable. They offer lots of leg room, like those seats toward the front of the airplane. These are right here waiting for you. We're opening now to page 128. Thank you. Page 128, looking in the lower right-hand corner. And as I look around this space, I want to say Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Melody and John and their family. The Bryant boys are celebrating their B'nai Mitzvah this weekend. We're so glad that you're here with us. And maybe you'll help us lead Kiddush at the end of the service so we can welcome you more appropriately. Again, at the bottom of page 128, in the lower right corner, the bracketed numbers, if you must choose, the words of Bialik, Shabbat HaMalkah. Ha'chama merosh ha'ilanot nistaleka bo'u v'netzeh tikrat Shabbat HaMalkah. Hinei hi yoredet ha'kedosha Tzva shalom u'menucha, hinei hi yoredet ha'kedosha ha'berucha, ve'im ha'malachim, tzva shalom u'menucha.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to all of those who are here in this room and for everybody joining us on our virtual sanctuary. It's so sweet to be together. This week in particular, it is really good to gather. This was a hard week for many people, a week that might have felt sad or angry or overwhelmed or a little heartbreaking. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to get there near the end of this service. We're going to talk about it and we're going to ritualize. And we're going to help ourselves be in that moment. But we also need the joy of Shabbat. We cannot trade out all of the stuff of singing and all of the stuff where we smile and laugh at each other and where we clap together and where we clap off rhythm together. We cannot trade that out. We need the balance so badly if we're going to make our way into the next week with any chance of getting through and feeling our whole selves again. And so we'll take joy tonight and we'll pray and we'll sing and we'll have Kabbalat Shabbat and we'll feel our hearts soar. And maybe we'll ask ourselves, am I allowed to feel this happy, this joyful right now? And the permission is ours to grant It's ours to have. It's all of ours to say to each other, yes, we can enjoy. We can sing loud. We can laugh and smile. We can love this ominous, weird weather that is this gorgeously smelling incoming storm. We can love that we are on a weekend that signals the informal beginning of summer. We can take time and say, we are here also remembering all of those who gave their life to protect the values of this country. We can appreciate the sweet spring air. And we can be grateful that Shabbat rolls in, no matter what happens during the week before it, that it is here to let us feel our muscles relax a little bit. If you feel really tense right now, I imagine that's a lot of us. Take a minute to maybe roll your shoulders back. Or if you keep your tension in your jaw, that's where mine likes to live. Like, release your jaw just a little bit. Give yourself that. Feel your lower back release, your upper back, your shoulders and your neck release. We can hold each other accountable for having a little joy in this space to lift up sweetness and fun. And maybe you did a l'chaim out in the lobby, and that's good. Because we need to get ourselves a little high tonight. I mean, on music and Shabbat, to be perfectly honest. Oh boy, do we need this day. Let's continue into the Psalms of Shabbat. Let them lift us right up on page 130 with L'chu Neranana.
Let's
Middle of page 137. Adonai oz le'amo yiteh, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yiteh, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yiteh, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yiteh, Adonai yivarech et amo.
past week, Jordan and Rose and I spent some time in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin at Havana Shira, which is a Jewish song leading conference that hasn't been held in person for 3 years. And I don't know about you, but it's been a long time, 3 years perhaps, since I was in a room with that many people, about 120 or so, singing out in full force. And there are moments when I found myself winded from singing so much, from going along with the spirit in the room. And it was in those moments that I realized I didn't have to sing so loudly because everyone else was. And I could just stop and I could receive and I could gain strength in that receiving. So if that's you tonight, if you're finding it hard to put voice to these prayers for whatever reason, you're feeling winded from this past week and you need to receive, well, you're in the right place too. So let's just take a few moments to find our breath, whatever ways we can before we continue. Page 138. ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ונתינה לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור נפסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התנערי מעפר גומי, לבשי בגדי טיפתך מי, היד בן ישי, בן הלכני, כל רבה אל נפשי גאלה, לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי, אורי, שידברי ככל אדוני, עלי נגרם לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וסולה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, 144, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתקדם ויתקדש שמי רבי ילמד ברכיותיו ימליך מלכותי מחייכו וביומכו וחיילכו את ישראל ובצפון כרי אמרו
Please be seated, page 148.
Please join with me on page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
150. Ay, 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 אהבת עולם, אהבת עולם בין ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגד יומם ולילה. תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. 154. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם במזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. 158. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, פוקע ים לבני משה ומרים, זהלי עלו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי בא אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
In a moment, we're going to turn to page 160 for Hashkivenu. If you are a person who sometimes prays at night and sometimes prays in the morning, then you know that this prayer makes it to the evening service, but it's not in the morning service. When the rabbis wrote this, they wrote it because they found themselves praying in a space, maybe kind of like this one, with their community, and it was after dark for their evening prayer. And so after they finished prayer, they had to leave from that place. There weren't lamps, there was no electricity. So they found they had to walk home on long, dark, sometimes bumpy roads, and sometimes they found dangers on those roads. So they wrote this prayer just as a primal ask, a hope, that they made it home from prayer to be safe with their families. It says, may we lie down. May I go to sleep tonight. May I go from this place that I'm in to that place I'm going to be and fall asleep tonight and wake up tomorrow still okay. May I find my family tonight. May there be no one on the roads, wild beasts, or people who want to do injury to me. And then they looked around and they looked at their friends and they thought, for all of us. And so the prayer is in the plural, like most of our prayers are. And so we too, we've got electricity when we leave here, may even still be light out. But we know that the darkness holds something that the daylight hours don't. That our hearts cry out, feeling extra vulnerable. Whatever beasts might be on our path, or whatever people might want to do us injury, we also feel our hearts yearn for protection, for some sort of sukkot shalom to be over us. And we look around and we think, yeah, over all of us. And then because our hearts extend with unlimited capacity, we think over all this country, over all of those folks in Texas, over all of the countries across the water, over all of those in Ukraine. We have the capacity to pray because we understand that they're vulnerable like everybody else is. And so we pray for that tonight, for a Sukkot Shalom over all of those who just want to get home to their families tonight. And then we'll move to a prayer for healing, Mishaberach, because we know that sometimes there is injury and people we care about are in pain. And so when we get to that place, if you're on our screen, we'll invite you to place names into the chat of those that you are praying for, their healing, their wholeness, whether it's healing of body or spirit, healing from fear, healing from grief. And in this room, we'll take a moment in the midst of that prayer to invite your names out loud here in this space. We'll turn now to page 160 for Hashkivene.
Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, L'shalom, Ve'hamidenu, Shomreinu L'chaim. Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shalomecha, V'takeneinu, Be'etzah Tova milfanecha, Ve'hoshienu leman shemecha, Ve'hagen b'adeinu, Ve'haser me'aleinu oyev dever, Ve'cherev ve'ra ve'yagon, Ve'harchek mimenu avon, Va'afesha, U'b'tzel kenafecha tastirenu, Ki el shomreinu, Matzilenu ata, Ki el chanun v'rachum ata, U'shmor tzedenu, Uvoeinu l'chaim u'l'shalom, Ve'ata ve'yad olam, Ve'ata ve'yad olam, Baruch ata Adonai, haborei Sukkot Shalom aleinu, Ve'akol amo Yisrael, Ve'al Yerushalayim. 371. Misheberach Avotenu Bekor Abracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
There's been so much pain this week. Who are you praying for? Say the names out loud.
It's the families of the 19 children who were slain. Rachel Rackow.
My cousin Doug Archer, his wife Sue, my mother and my sons. Yael Shoshana Bat Nechama, Naomi Valentina Bat Pinona, Bernard Babspolsky,
Laura Pearl Campbell.
Denise Ben Bot Helen, and James Ben James, and Malka Bot Ellen.
Misheberach imotenu mekol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We turn back now to page 162 for the singing of Vishamaru, to be followed by a period of silent prayer from 164 through 181. Again, we're on page 162, and we rise. Adonai, 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 Adonai,
My sweet baby girl, my beautiful angel, the sweetest little boy I've ever known. I'll forever miss you and love you, my angel, my sweet, innocent baby sister, my precious angel. I feel so numb. We love you, princess. My little sidekick. We had no idea this was goodbye. These are just a few of the words, the terms of endearment that came just after the screams of horror and despair that left the mouths of parents and grandparents and siblings groping for a way to articulate even a fraction of the immeasurable loss and inconceivable heartbreak of losing the ones that were most precious to them. And some of us, not knowing them personally out there in Uvalde, Texas, some of us may feel like we are breaking with them. As we read the stories of how their child loved to dance, how they were a badass softball player, how their smile was infectious, how they loved art class best, how they just made honor roll that morning, how they were looking forward to a summer of swimming. We break and we buckle. As we come to understand how terrified the children must have been, maybe it aches in our chests. As we learn how the teachers threw themselves on their students, while the police officers stood outside unwilling to enter, maybe our eyes are heavy with tears too. As we hear the impotent responses from politicians who could have and who could still take assault weapons, the tools of war, out of the hands of civilians, including teenagers, maybe we add to our grief also rage. Because the physical distance and difference in ethnicity or language or faith between us falls away as our hearts become porous instruments of empathy and grief. If only we could pull their children from the massacre into safety as if they were our own. And we look around for answers or meaning or guidance. What we find in our tradition this week is not gentle, but it puts into stark relief a truth about this moment that we are in this country that is so obsessed with guns that we place them above life itself. In our calendar, we're about to celebrate Shavuot, the holiday where we remember standing at the foot of Mount Sinai, receiving Torah and entering into covenant with God and with one another as a people together. The terms of that covenant are clear. God lays out a framework for us and asks us to choose a path of light and goodness and compassion and humanity, or to choose its opposite. Hachayim v'hamavet natati lefanecha uvacharta b'chayim. I place before you life and death. Choose life, God urges us. Why? L'ma'an techiyeh ata v'zarecha, so you and your children may live. It's the only way. It's got to be proactive. This is the dotted line on which we are asked to sign before Torah is delivered into our hands. Those are the terms of the agreement. Torah itself then becomes an unfolding conversation about how well we do with that. What happens when we spurn that proposition? What happens when we keep it? What happens when we stumble, and how do we come back to it when we fall off the path? And this week, Parshat B'chukotai lays it all out for us. What happens when we turn towards life and light and humanity? Blessing after blessing. The earth will yield fruit. No sword will cross our land. Vishavtem levetach ba'artzachem. We will feel safe. And what happens when we turn away? When we decide that life is too cumbersome to choose, too inconvenient, an obstacle that we'd rather not have. Curse after curse. The earth will not grow anything for you to eat. Your cities will be in ruins. I will scatter you. The curses build and build each time with God saying, and if you still then do not heed this covenant, and then if you persist in not choosing the path, this path, and if you, despite all of this, continue to embrace inhumanity, Vehevet morech bilvavam v'radaf otam kol ale nidaf. What then? There will be a faintness in our hearts, so that the hint of a sound, the sound of a leaf in the wind, will make us run in fear. Fear because we see that life is not held sacrosanct, and so can be traded. Like the parents this week who were so scared to send their kids to school, or the shoppers afraid to go to the store, or the strap hangers afraid to take the next train. That level of fear, but all the time. And then the text says, if then we still won't choose life, if no matter how many times we cannot learn and we cannot change, and the consequences of one curse has no effect on us, "V'achaltem basar b'nechem u'v'sar b'notechem tochelu." You will devour your children. Oh, CBE family, it is hard to stand up this week. As we scroll through our news feeds, as we try to shield our youngest ones from it all, maybe we feel like a part of us is breaking and buckling. It's the part of us that breaks when we feel a tidal wave, an irresistible force that we don't right now have the power to stop, of a nation choosing not to choose life. It can bring us to our knees. In a few moments, we are going to do what we can do, what is in our power to do, and that is to honor the lives of those who have died. We will say their names. We will conjure their faces and their smiles in our minds. We'll honor them with silence. We will protect our souls from growing cynical and our hearts from putting up walls that don't let the grief through. And we will do it in community because we will choose life over and over and over again. We may not be able to stand up today, but among the blessings offered to those who choose life, God reminds us that whatever it is that is bigger than us in this universe, Eshbor motot ulchem va'olech etchem koma miut, that God will break the bars of our yoke and help us to walk koma miut, upright. The Sfat Emet asks about this word koma miut, walking upright, because it appears only once in Torah right here. How, in this world, would such a thing be possible, to walk upright? He answers, that is the way humans were created after all. Even if today we are bent over in tears, it is not how we were created to be. One way to stand up after heartbreak is to dare to keep our hearts soft, dare to keep them open to one another, dare to believe that one day, even if today is not that day, we will again walk upright, that we will not live like this endlessly. And so we will embody it, practice it, this standing upright, because in time, it is how we must become. And because tonight, we stand up in the name of, and for the dignity of, and the love of all of those who died. And so, in a moment, Molly is going to help by passing out 21 pieces of paper. If you get a piece of paper, you'll see on it is a name that's highlighted. We're going to read each of the names of the children and the teachers who died at Robb Elementary School. And as you read that name, I will invite you to stand comme mute, to lift yourself up to an upright position. And we are going to do that with you. So each area in here will be also a number. And so if you just follow with me for a moment as we set up a ritual so that we can make some meaning here. This area would be 1 and 2, and then the row behind you 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and then down to the front until we reach the front. And if you are joining us virtually, you just stand when you hear something. We're going to read them loud, and in your chat, you're going to see the names in front of you also, and you feel free to stand at the name that you feel moved to stand by. And so one person will stand when they say the name, and an area of us will stand with you until we are all on our feet. And I invite you to this week sometime, if you say a name or if you hear and then stand for a name, to find out about that child or that teacher. Find out about who they were and what their dreams might have been and what their family is saying about them, and hold them, because it's going to take all of us to hold them. When the list is done and all names have been shared, and we're standing, all of us, comme mute, we will just take some time together in silence. Cantor Breitzer will eventually take us out of that silence with music. And as we begin, I invite you to take some time between the names. You don't have to rush it. If it's a name that you have, but you're not sure how to pronounce it, just do your best. And through the next moments together, may we do honor to these 21 lives who should still be here with us. And so whomever has name number 1, we invite you to begin when you're ready.
Alicia Ramirez.
Age 10.
Isaiah Garcia, age 10.
Amelie Joe Garcia, age 10.
Miranda Mathis, 11.
Eliana Cruz Torres, age 10. Zalia Javier Lopez, age 10.
Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, age 10.
Maite Rodriguez. Jackie Cazares, age 10.
Chase Carmelo Luvanas, age 10. Isla Nicole Severo, age 10.
Tess Marie Mata.
Alexandria Lexi Ania Rubio, age 10.
Emily Elra, age 10. Eliana
Layla Salazar, age 10.
Jose Flores, age 10.
Eva Morales.
Irma Garcia, teacher.
We rise now to join you, come mute, to stand upright in their honor. We take a few moments of silence.
How do we choose life in the face of such death? Choice we have to make day by day, one day at a time. And by counting one day at a time, we can begin to restore some sense of order to a world and a people. We turn to page 570, remain standing over the youth as we prepare to count the Omer. We begin prayer that all the broken divinity in this world, in this universe, might be made whole. הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר. 7 weeks, they must be complete. 7 weeks, they must be complete. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu, b'mitzvotav etzivanu, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer. Ayom, 42 יום, שהם 6 שבועות לעומר. יא 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 איי 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 42nd day, making 6 weeks of the Omer. We continue in the middle of page 590. Ki ha'malchut shel Chayim u'le'ol me'ad timlot bechavod ka'katuv b'toratecha Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed oy v'ne'ema le'aya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz b'yom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. On that day we pray, God will be one, God's name will be one. Let us be seated.
As we prepare ourselves for Kaddish Yatom, our mourners' Kaddish, we pray, may each of the sweet and innocent souls whose names we uttered here tonight be gathered under the wings of Shekhinah. May their families come to know comfort in time. And this week, on Shavuot, when we find ourselves again at the foot of a mountain called Sinai, and the choice is again laid out before us, dear God, may we be brave enough to dream up a world that chooses life this time. We turn to page 598 as we prepare ourselves for Kaddish Yatom. And maybe you came into this room carrying the names of those in Texas, and maybe you came into this room carrying the names of ones that you love, ones that you miss, ones that you knew, who you wish were walking here with us now, who you wish were by your side physically, even as you carry them in your heart, even as you miss them every day, even as they continue to impact who you are and what you do and what makes you laugh and the foods that you cook and the way that you sing and the way you know what matters in life. We miss them so much that they can't just be here with us. And so if you are here and it is the first week after your loss, we want to invite you to rise and share the name of your loved one with us. If this is Shloshim for you, the first 30 days, we want to invite you to rise and share their name with us as well. If this is Shana, the first year of your loss, we invite you to rise and share their name. And if this is there more? Thank you. We can remain standing if you're able. And if this is a yahrzeit for you, an anniversary of a death, we invite you to stand and share their names as well.
Leonard Gotcher. Louis Schlapko.
And we now rise to surround you as we remember also these names that we are remembering from this congregation. Ilya Shlyakov, father of Konstantin Brightman, father-in-law of Julia Brightman, and grandfather of Matthew and Ethan. Florian Matos, father of Peggy Levinson, father-in-law of Richard Levinson, and grandfather of Nicole and Danielle. Edith Brenner, mother of Amy Brenner, mother-in-law of Scott Zucker, and grandmother of Nathaniel and Elia. And William Greenbaum, father of Anna Solomon, father-in-law of Michael Berger, and grandfather of Sylvia and Samuel. And on their yahrzeit, we are remembering Rose Phillips Abrashkin, Harriet Albert, Herschel Barachoff, Alvin Brensilver, Dr. J. Cornell, Edmund David, Dina Fogel, Grace George Barr, Gloria Giraldi, Stanley Glass, Leonard Gonchar, Elsie Gutman, Jesse Gutman, Esta Hare, Emily Herseg, Ada Davis Hess, Marissa Hill, Tony Horwitz, Betty Jane Iacin, Martin Jacobs, Sidney Jaffe, Moses Katz, Emma Lampert Mayer, Seymour Lansner, Saul London, Andrew Lotman, Dr. Harry Mandelbaum, Lester Mason, Frederick May, Agnes Tibor Oranger, Anthony Peters, Philip Polanski, Gertrude Liebson Rosen, Naomi Roth, Minna Sacker, Bernard Schein, Daniel Schwartz, Sylvia Schaefer, Esta Spiro Hare, Hyman Steifeld, Harriet Stoller, Dorothy Waxman, Rabbi Henry Weiner, Francis Weiss, Adolf Yokel, and for all those who you've also placed into the chat so that we might grieve with you. We pray that their memory is a blessing. On page 598, we join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divorach hirute v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, bagala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'miran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to all who mourn. We say together, amen.
And we conclude with words from Psalms, Olam Chesed Ibaneh. Olam Chesed Ibaneh. Adonai, Adonai, Adonai. 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 I will build this world from love. I will build this world from love. Adonai, Adonai, Adonai. And you must build. And you must build this world from love. Adonai, Adonai, Adonai. And if we build this world from love, Adonai, 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 then God will build this world from love. Adonai, 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 oh, Olam Chesed Ibaneh. Adonai, 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 Olam Chesed Ibaneh. Adonai, Adonai, Adonai. Olam Chesed Ibaneh. Adonai, Adonai, Adonai. Olam Chesed Ibaneh. Adonai, Adonai. America, God shed grace on thee and crown thy good with motherhood. From sea to shining. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
I
Shalom.
invite you to help us make Kiddush in the lobby. Shabbat Shalom, everyone on Zoom.
If you're joining us on Zoom, please feel free to stay on and speak with each other.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah.
Howard.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom, Barbara. Shabbat shalom, Mother Barbara. Shalom, Sheila.
Yeah,
Howard.
and Sheila. And
Sheila, Barbara,
Hi, guys.
Sheila. Linda.
It's good to see you, Sheila.
Shabbat
Thank
shalom,
you.
Julianne and Jules.
Thanks.
Barbara, are you back? Are you back in New York? Are you back?
Thank you. You too.
Are you back, Barbara Brett? Are you back in New York?
I'm back in Brooklyn for now, yes, for the next few months.
Brilliant.
Hooray.
Yeah, brilliant.
Good to be back in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Hi, Lois. I know you had your face.
Where's Howard? Sheila, where is Howard?
He's behind me. Say hello.
He's moving from the corner.
He's behind me.
Hello to Lou.
Hello to Lou.
Shabbat shalom.
Hi, Miriam.
Hello.
He's here. He's here.
Miriam, Shabbat shalom.
I'm gonna try to get his face there.
Oh, there he is.
I've been
There
having
he
a
is.
problem. I've been having, I don't know whether everybody else has it, but when last week and this week, I see the service only in a small square like the squares we're in. I can't get it bigger anymore. I used to.
Oh, my goodness.
No, you have to change it to speaker view.
Change the speaker view.
Oh, is that it? Because I tried changing it to the big view. It used to, and I just get the little square. All right, next time I'll try that.
Go up to the right and
Here it says view, and then you can change it.
I have to remember that for next week.
Yeah.
right. But if that doesn't work, then we have to go into your video system.
I mean, I can see it, but it's just so little, you know.
Try tapping on, double tap, Barbara.
Oh, okay.
That's
I'll try that next week. I have to wait 7 days and then. Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Now,
everybody.
double tap.
Good night, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Stay well.
Bye.
Be healthy.
Let's say,
And we've had this week. maybe.
Stay well, everybody.
Now,
Stay well.
And be happy. Shabbat Shalom.
good night.
Take care. Oh, myself.